Children, today we are going to start with lesson number 7 of the supplementary reader, that is Ivan's Tries and O Level, written by Colin Texter. Now, Colin Texter he is famous for his crime stories, and in the short story, and in this short story, Ivan's Tries and O Level, he brings an interesting piece of work. Now, should criminals in prison be given the opportunity of learning and education? Let us read the lesson and just understand that the question which has been asked will get the answer of that particular question from this lesson. Now, here we have some characters, so let us just read out the names of the characters. The Secretary of the Examination Board, the Governor of HM Prison, Oxford. James Ivan is a prisoner. Mr. Jackson is a prison officer. Mr. Stephens is also a prison officer. The Reverend S. McCleary and is an invigilator. And Mr. Carter is a detective superintendent. Mr. Bell is a detective chief inspector. Now all the precautions have been taken to see to it that the O-level German examination arranged in the prison for Evans does not provide him with any means of escape. Now, the governor of Oxford prison telephoned the secretary of the examinations board in the early part of March with an unusual request. Now, what was the request? That one of the prisoners, that is James Roderick Evans, he wanted to appear for the O-level German examination. The prisoner named Evans, that is James Roderick Evans, he wanted to appear for the O-level German examination. And the secretary wanted to know if the prisoner was a violent person. The governor said that he was actually a pleasant and a fun-loving person with no record of violence. He was an expert imitator like Mike Yarwood, so he was like a star during Christmas celebrations at the prison. He was hereditary a kleptomaniac, that means a thief who picked up things. He had been taking night classes for appearing in the O-level exam. And the secretary said that he would send one of the priests from St. Mary Mag's as an invigilator to the prison. Now the prisoner Evans, he was called Evans the Break. Why? Because he had escaped thrice from the prison. And the governor was worried as he thought the examination may be just a ploy on the part of Evans to escape from prison. It was just like we can say a plan. Governor he thought that this man Evans, he was making a plan to escape from the prison through this examination. Evans' tutor wished him best of luck on 7th June, that is Monday at 8:30 p.m. for his exam the next day, but was concerned about his success, for he doubted that Evans had no chance of passing the exam. Senior prison officer Jackson, two other prison officers and a new recruit officer, that is Stephens, came to visit Evans on the day of examination at 8:30 a.m. on 8th June. Jackson made fun of Evans by calling him Einstein. They gave the prisoner time to clean and dress himself up. Then Jackson told Stephens to take away the razor, and he told Evans to remove his dirty hat. But Evans insisted on keeping it as it was his good luck charm. For some of us, we have some good luck charm, so we want to have that thing wherever we move. So Evan also thought that his hat was a good luck charm for him, so he wanted to keep that hat on his hat. He didn't want to remove it. The governor had taken all precautions to stop the jailbreak. Even Ivan's nail, scissors, and file were taken away, and they had bugged his cell so that the governor would know what was happening there. Now at 8:45 a.m., Reverend Stuart McCleary started for the prison to invigilate for Evans. He was carrying a small brown suitcase containing all the things needed for the examination: a sealed question paper envelope, a yellow invigilation form, a special authentication card from the examination board, a paper knife, a Bible, and a current copy of the church times. The examinations was to start at 9:15 a.m. and it would last for 2 hours. Now Stephens brought in two small square tablets and tables and chairs for the examination. Evans wanted to know why his room was bugged, so Jackson said that they didn't trust him and were not ready to take any chances. The governor would be listening to every conversation in his cell. The priest was taken to the prisoner's cell where Evans was concentrating hard on a book of elementary German grammar. Now the governor switched on the audio receiver to Evans' cell at 9:10 a.m. He felt that they had simply gone to bug Evans' room because if he wanted to escape, he would have done so from the recreational block. He told his officers to search McCleary's suitcase. In it, they found a semi inflated rubber ring, but McCleary informed that he suffered from piles and the ring helped him if he had to sit for a long time in one position. McCleary instructed Evans regarding writing down the paper name, index number, and center number. All this while, Stephens was in the cell, but Evans didn't like it and protested, so the governor got him removed. The examination began at 9:25 a.m. and at 9:40 a.m. the Assistant Secretary for Modern Languages informed the governor about a correction in the question paper on page 3 in line 15. The governor got the correction made through McCleary. Stephens had kept an eye on Evans through the peephole, and at 10:50 a.m. even requested a blanket, saying that he was feeling very cold. Stephens didn't report about Evans covering a blanket as he thought it was because of the cell being very cold. Jackson told Stephens to talk to the governor when 3 minutes were left for the examination. The governor ordered Stephens to accompany McCleary to the main gate. When they were walking towards the main gate, Stephens felt that the invigilator suddenly seemed to have grown thinner, and his Scottish accent was very visible. He felt he needed to have one more look of Evans, and then when he came into the cell, he saw a man sprawled in Evans' chair with the blanket slipped from his shoulder and his hair splattered with blood. They thought that the man was McCleary, and Evans, according to them, had escaped. The wounded man in Evans' cell, whom everybody thought to be McCleary, told them not to worry about him, and he told the governor about the photocopied sheet that had been superimposed over the last page of the question paper, where a few words were written in German. It was an instruction for Evans to stick to the plan and not to hit McCleary too hard. It said that the 3 minutes before the examination were very important. He was also instructed not to overdo the Scottish accent. Detective Superintendent Carter went into action, and the person they thought was McCleary told them that Evans had gone towards Elsfield Way. The governor asked Carter to take McCleary with him because he was the only one who knew what had really happened. The governor scolded his people for being foolish. He told them that he had not made any call at 11:22 a.m. At that time, he was trying to get in touch with the examinations board. Jackson was scolded for not having searched Evans' cell thoroughly the previous evening. In the process, Evans had hidden the clerical paraphernalia. Now the governor saw the photocopied part of the question paper and thought of New Bury. He ordered the driver to take Jackson and Stephens to St. Altarda's police station to meet Chief Inspector Bell. The governor decided to confront Evans himself, so he mentally calls him Mr. Clever Evans and thanks him for leaving the lead for him in the question paper. Carter informed the governor that McCleary had seen Evans driving off along Elsfield Way. He was given a chase, but they somehow missed him. Therefore, the governor told him that he believed that Evans was actually heading towards Newbury, and he also gave the reason for his belief. When the governor asked Carter about McCleary, Carter said that the priest was really groggy, and when they reached the examination offices, so they rang for an ambulance and sent him to the Radcliffe Hospital. Now, when the governor rang up the hospital and the ambulance had reached Elsfield to pick McCleary up, but the parson was not there, the governor realized that something was terribly wrong. A quarter of an hour later, they found the real McCleary bound and gagged in his own study in Broad Street. He had been there since 8:15 a.m. Finally, they came to know that Evans was impersonating McCleary, and he had not walked out of the prison but had stayed in it. Now, Evans was still wearing the priest clothes, which he had changed in the car that picked him up from the examinations offices. He was happy with his successful escape, but was upset that he had to cut his long hair. Luckily, they had not made him remove his hat. And when he reached the Golden Lion Hotel, he was walking towards his room, and when he opened the door, he found the governor sitting on the narrow bed in the room, and his heart skipped a bit. The governor told him how the correction slip gave him the deed to the hotel with the hotel's name. The index number 313 and the center number 271 refer to the area where Evans could be. It was the Golden Lion of Chipping Norton. Evans shared with him the idea with which they splattered the blood on the head. The governor wanted to know how Evans was able to carry out everything when he had no visitors. No one was there in the prison, or no one was there where he was supposed to appear for the exam, whom he could meet. Then how he was able to escape from that place. Evans said that he had many friends, and the German teacher was one of them, who had helped him a lot. Finally, Evans was brought handcuffed by a prison officer and taken out of the hotel room to the prison one. Then the governor told Evans that he would see him at the prison. Evans asked the governor if his knowledge of Italian was good, as he was planning to take an O-level examination in Italian language next September. The governor said that Evans might not be with them the next September. Evans agreed, and it was true, because when the governor left the prison officer, he was his friend, untied the cuffs, and asked the driver to drive fast to Newbury. He outwitted the governor and was able to escape even after he was caught by the governor at the hotel. So here we complete our lesson. Now children, this lesson which we have studied today, it's not included in your syllabus. So now your supplementary reader, from the supplementary reader, lesson number 5, 6 and 5, 6, 7, 8, this many lessons, they are not being included in your syllabus. So just you just listen to this video and try to understand it, but no need to study for your exams. Okay children, now I hope that in the next we have completed with all the textual lessons. That means your textual syllabus is over. Now in the next session I'll just will start with the grammar part of your English subject. Till then, goodbye.